MC's name is never enough for a thriving world of music lovers. Truly successful rappers are born of passion and heartfelt interest. I am interested in personal stories because that's when people became expressive, spontaneous, and heartfelt. I am Murder, and I am an MC.
This is a Cinema
Let's
Beats
go.
production.
If you hear me, let me see you put your hands up. Wait, that's not enough, I wanna see you standing up. When I was just a kid, ADHD got the best of me. I thought that I was missing an ingredient. My recipe was never really the same as all the other kids. I knew that I was different, it was hard to just accept. When they was watching movies, I was running down the steps, burning off this energy that never seemed to die. To me, that life was normal, though I had to be myself. I couldn't trade the cards, and I just played what I was dealt. Being the only boy, too, had a lot to do with that. I never really had any friends to play with a ball and bat. My only source of outlet could get rid of all this hyperness was running around the block and try to stay away from idleness. Cause sitting still was hard for me, it wasn't really an option. But once I heard these beats inside my head, it started bopping. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't see it as clear as I do. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't see it as clear as I do. Washing machine was spinning off in my brain, trying to figure out if we was all really the same. Another piece of candy calms me down, it's down the hatch. After that it was raps, accompanied by a six-pack. All I ever thought about my teens was getting high, to calm my emotions and the feelings inside. All these people ever did was point the finger at me and say you need to live a better life, but they don't see that their own good ways are still tossing at sea. Would you still point the finger for the strawberry tree? Hell no you wouldn't, cause the focus is now you. Be blooming on the hillside, spectacular view. Go and hate on someone else, fingers break round here. I don't play that pointing game cause it don't seem fair. I was told to identify and never compare. So someone points the finger, just remember this right here. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't see it as clear as I do. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't see it as clear as I do. Small town kid with big city dreams. They point that plastic finger at me. They all assume my kind will drop and die. If somebody's pointing that finger at you, saying you shouldn't be doing that, they need to follow that finger back. Go up the arm and look at the head that's behind it. Because there's almost always something fairly wrong in there. It's up to them to find it. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't see it as clear as I do. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't see it as clear as I do. Please don't point the finger at me. Every time you do that, you gon' see there's three more pointing back at you. Some don't